What's up, y'all? I was gonna make another audio message about this, but I've been overloading some groups I'm in with audio messages, so I figured I'd just make a video and go on a little storytelling over my weekend because it was very eventful. Very eventful in terms of everything that's happening, like directly related to it, right? With what's going on and the type of lifestyle we're living in now and the adjustments we're having to make, right? Um, I'll start off with the experience I had at Starbucks. All right, so Saturday morning, I go through the drive-through of Starbucks. I order my little green tea latte, and she goes, "It's gonna be this much. Pull up to the window with your mask on, please." And it's not the first time I've heard that, and it's not the first time that I disregarded, that sort of um, recommendation because at the end of the day, it's what it is. They can't order you to do anything. Um, so I've avoided that recommendation before, and it's never been an issue, right? The times that somebody says something, I told them, like, look, I can't wear it because of my medical condition, and they just didn't do anything. They gave me my order, and I went on my way. But this time, there was a lady working there. She was a bit overweight, right? And you could tell she's been pretty beat up by the system per se, right? If you know what I mean. And she goes, "Sir, you need to put on your mask." And I go, "I don't need to do anything. I can't wear a mask because I have a medical condition." And then she goes, "Okay, then I can't serve you." And I look at her and I go, "So you're willing to break a federal law? Like that's big." I'm like, "Is your manager here?" And she got all confused. She's like, "It's just a rule that we have. It's a rule that we have that you need to wear your mask." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you do realize you're breaking federal law. And are you going to be responsible for that? What's your name?" And she told me her name, which I forgot. And I'm like, "So you're going to be responsible for breaking federal law?" And she looks at me, and I'm like, "Is your manager here?" She's like, "Yeah, she's here." So it took like a couple minutes. She pulled up to the window. She's like, "Sorry, sweetie, I need you to have your mask on. It's for our safety." And I go, "I can't wear a mask because of my medical condition." And she goes, "I'm sorry, it's just a rule that we have." And I'm like, "Yes, it's a rule that you have for your employees because they're under contract with Starbucks, right? Just like you have to do anything your supervisor says because you're under contract with Starbucks. There's a chain of command and you get benefits from them, meaning you get paid. So I'm not under contract with you guys and I'm not under contract with anybody else that's telling me that I have to wear a mask and put my risk at health. And if you're going to ask me what condition is, my HIPAA laws protect me from that. So don't ask me what condition I have as to why I need to wear a mask. All you need to know is that as a medical condition, I can't adjust to the order that you're giving me, and no executive order from anybody, from any governor or anything, supersedes the laws that are already in place." And she looks at me and she goes, "Okay, sweetie, I'm gonna serve you, and I'm gonna, make sure that I speak with higher ups to make sure that that this doesn't happen again. That and making sure that." That I teach my staff what they need to do in these situations, and I don't want you to feel uncomfortable about coming here again. And I'm like, "Thank you, I appreciate that." She said, "But I'm gonna be the one that serves you because she feels uncomfortable." I'm like, "That's totally fine, and I appreciate that." So after that, I went over to my brother's house, spent some time with my nephew and my niece, and it was about 6, 7 o'clock. My brother told me the neighbors wanted to have a couple of drinks outside, whatever. And so we started just hanging out, talking, about, just BSing. And of course, COVID and the situation came up, right? And just hearing them talk, it was kind of scary because they're all on this, 100% on board with what's going on. They're 100% in with, if we have to close down again, they think that's something that would be beneficial to stop the spread, and that it's going to be tough for their kids to go back to school with face mask and shields on all day. Now they don't know how they're going to be able, how that's going to be how that might be even somewhat counterproductive, but it's going to be necessary that they should do homeschool again. Just basically, they sounded like a news channel. You can tell how programmed they were. And it was sad. It was sad because I'm going to get to an example here in a couple minutes that I'm glad I didn't try and wake them up, because it's almost like, the when somebody says that you try to wake up a sleepwalker and they attack you, kind of like in Step Brothers, right? When she tries and wakes him up, they just all attack the dude. It's going to be the same case. And I have a prime example that happened to me yesterday. So this was Saturday. And so they were talking about all that, and I just put my head down like, I can't believe this. Like, I cannot believe how far and strong along these people are, and they've lost their ability to critically think because they're not asking any questions. They're not asking any questions. They're calling people without face masks irresponsibles, that they're the ones that should be even thrown in jail, that they need to put a curfew on. And it's crazy. The things they were saying, they're far gone. And so let's fast forward to yesterday. Yesterday, woke up, normal day. I was looking for something to do. It was really nice out. But I just found myself like laying on the couch. I wanted to start looking up more information about laws that, protect consumers from publicly owned businesses, that you can actually exercise and teach, their owners, and it's things that their owners should know so they don't really impose their will illegally upon people, so they don't face any sort of recourse, number one, and they protect their business, right? Because I'm not out to hurt anybody. And number two, and probably most importantly, is the entire point, obviously, being able to know your rights and know the due process that's in place, that's essentially, there to protect you from any, discrimination. So my buddy calls me. They're having a barbecue. He's like, come over here. It's around 4 or 5 p.m. I go over there, have a great time, playing some dominoes. We're having a few drinks, listening to music, singing some karaoke. COVID hardly comes up. The only time it came up, during the time where, everybody was there having a good time was when the house owner decided to go around with a bottle of alcohol and spray people's hands that wanted to spray it. Obviously, everybody got to spray it except this guy. And obviously, since I was the only one, she kind of like attacked me, but like in a nonchalant way, right? She was like, "Oh, the all-knowing doesn't want any alcohol," and I'm just, I flex, like just messing with her. I'm like, "Yeah, that's right," but I don't think I'm all-knowing by any means. I do my diligent process of verifying things and getting down to its core, and just trying to find out the truth about things. So at the end of the night, everyone's gone by now. The only people that are there are the house owner, which she's a lawyer, her boyfriend, which is my buddy, which is the one who always invites me over there. I've known him since I was a little kid, and her neighbors. And her neighbors that consist of, she has two females and one male, right? One couple. So they're all there, we're conversating about the night, blah, 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 joking around. And I'm pretty much like wrapping it up. I'm thinking like, all right, I'm going to leave here any second. So I'm like sipping the last bit of the beer that I was drinking. And the topic comes up again about how they're going to have to shut everything down because this many cases are going up. And it just like slipped out, dude. Like I think I couldn't hold it anymore from just getting so overloaded with the bullshit going on from the last 24 to 36 hours where it just came out. Where I was just like, you do realize what you're saying. If it happens, it's over. And she's like, what do you mean? What you're saying right now, if they choose to shut down the economy again, they choose to shut everything down, put a hard curfew on, it's over. She's like, what do you mean over? I'm like, over as in the sense of you're going to be totally enslaved. You know what I mean by that? What I mean by that is that if they shut down everything again, that's going to deplete completely any worth that the currency has, right? Which is what they're going to do. But it will just speed that up, right? They're going to blame it on that. That's why the dollar collapsed. That's why you're not going to be able to pay your mortgage anymore, I told her. Because how are you going to pay it when your work isn't good enough for them in terms of the monetary system that you're using? So they're going to change that to where now you're going to be a total slave to them. All right. So right now you're enslaved, but you're going to be more enslaved because now that nothing's worth anything in terms of material value, in terms of the dollar or any coins, you're going to be completely succumbing to anything they say. If they tell you to dance like a monkey to keep your house for one more day, guess what you're going to do? You're going to dance like a monkey because you're not going to know what else to do. So be careful what you're saying, because if they do that, it's over. She's like, well, I mean, they're just going to have to do it because it's for the safety of people. The safety of people comes before anything. I'm like, I agree. But keeping you safe from what? And she goes, from COVID. And I'm like, okay, then what's COVID? And she's like, COVID's a disease that's killing millions of people around the world. And I'm like, I didn't ask you what COVID was doing, which is false. But I asked you, what is COVID? She's like, I told you, it's killing millions of people around the world. I'm like, no, see, I think you're mistaking as to what COVID is and what COVID is doing, or at least what they're telling you what COVID is doing. And have you realized how they're not telling you what it is? And from that point forward, literally, the conversation went from me and her to everybody attacking me. But when I mean attacking me, I mean attacking me like on a personal level. Because all I was doing, I was asking questions, right? And when they started attacking me, I turned to the guy beside me and I go, see, people have lost their ability to critically think for themselves. How you know you can still critically think is that you'll ask questions. And he goes, no, we agree there. You know, people have lost it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, man, look, they're all attacking me because I kept asking questions. I'm like, all I'm doing is asking a question as to what COVID is, and you're all attacking me. And they're like, well, we just know the way you think, and it's irresponsible, and the way you think is not the way everybody thinks. And there are just some people that are experts, and you need to accept that. You need to accept what they're telling you as to what it is and what it's doing. And I'm like, I don't want to accept anything, especially when I could do research and try and verify the things they're saying. And to where it's showing that I'm asking you guys questions about how much you know about what this is, and you guys are attacking me, which shows me that you don't know. That's why you're getting all defensive. Because if you knew the answer to the questions, you'd do what? You'd simply answer it. And boy, as soon as I said that, it was personal attacks out the butt. It was literally like, that's why you're alone. That's why you're not going to have a girlfriend. That's why you're going to stay alone, because of the way you think. The way you think you're always right, that you're the one who knows everything. And I'm like, I never said that. And if my questions are getting you to a point where you're self-defensive, it's because you don't know. And you're struggling just to simply say that you don't know. And I can tell you that the only reason I know is because I don't know. Because when you know that you don't know something, guess what? Your spirit and your entire energy wants to get to know that thing. But when you think you already know it, you're going to become lazy and complacent upon the knowledge that you think you have about a situation, which is no knowledge at all. So there's nothing new nothing new in terms of information that can enter your brain and enter your consciousness to accept and measure. From there, it's over. If you think you know something because somebody told you what it is, that's what you're going to do, and that's what you're currently doing. But me, I'm a person that likes to ask questions, because asking questions is going to lead you somewhere. It's going to get you to critically think. You guys are just taking everything for whatever they're telling you the first time, and they've been telling you. So, and dude, the attacks just kept coming, dude. They were like a bunch of fucking hyenas just attacking me, like wanting to eat me alive, dude. And it's sad. It's sad because one of those persons is a lawyer too. And I even went as far as in depth in the conversation to even try and educate them about their rights, right? Like a lot's popping up about Walmart not being able to let people come in without mask on, and that's been here for a while. That's been here since this entire thing started back in March, and people don't realize that they have certain rights that they can't violate, right? So all it would really take is a conversation and probably a couple hours of your time to really educate these people, because guess what? The store manager, he's not an independent manager. All right, Walmart, for example, is a publicly owned company. All right, and it has to abide by commercial law, right? Especially because it's government funded. If you don't know that Walmart's government funded, just look at how much money they received in subsidies over this coronavirus fake pandemic. All right, let's just call it that. They received like over 60 million or some shit like that. Mind you, where does the government get their money from? They get it from us, right? So that means that they have certain laws, right, that are called commercial law that they have to operate under, and they can't discriminate against anybody. They can't, because they're a public company. Okay, so if they're telling you like, look, no, this is private property, this is a private company, we can do whatever we want, you're a liar. And I can show you that you're not a public company, and you have to abide by these laws, and you can't discriminate against me for my either religious beliefs or my medical condition that doesn't that I can't wear a mask. And then what those store managers are going to do is they're going to call corporate. And what corporate's going to do is get their corporate lawyers on the phone. But they don't go as far as that because they already know they have no rights, that they don't have the authority to get people to do things out of that would be discriminating against their will. So that's all it would really take, is for you to just know those two things. See if the company's public and you can walk in there freely, because essentially that's your domain. It's yours as much as it is everybody else. It's not private property. Now, a private company reserves the right to refuse service to anybody for whatever the hell they want, because they're not publicly funded. All right, so don't try this with a private company. But with a publicly held company like Walmart, yeah, they can't discriminate against you for any reason. All right, so they're gonna give you some. They're gonna try and obviously fear tactic you to get you to wear a mask. Just don't give in. You know your rights. That's why it's important to know your rights, because if you don't know them, then you don't have any. But when you know them, you can clearly show them, look, you're under commercial law, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 doesn't allow any public company to discriminate against me for any reason. Any reason. So if I have a medical reason and a religious belief that doesn't allow me to wear a mask, guess what? You still have to serve me. You still have to serve me. Or else you'd be breaking federal law. And that's not something that Walmart wants, and that's not something they're going to do. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there already having victories, just simply having conversations with these people. They may have to come back the next day because the store manager's not there and they can't call corporate. Or if the store manager already knows and is a good store manager, he's already communicated this with his employees. But maybe they haven't yet. And most Walmarts, they have not yet, because they're just waiting for people like us to really bring this up. Okay, they really want to see how ignorant people are. All right, so don't be one of those ignorant people. Don't just put on a mask at Walmart because they tell you have to wear one. Know your rights, share them, and if you have to come back the next day because the store manager's not there and you have to share it with them, that's fine. All right, from that point forward, guess what? You're gonna look like a fucking god when you walk in there without a mask, and they're like, "No, let him in." People are just gonna look at you like, "What the fuck's going on?" Right? What's this? How come? What's going on? What does he know that I don't know? And maybe we can start something from there. But it's sad that this lawyer didn't know that. I asked her, I'm like, so is it lawful for Walmart to deny me service because I choose not to wear a mask due to a medical condition or religious belief that I have? And she's like, yeah, it's lawful. And I'm like, that's sad. Coming from you being a lawyer, that's sad. She's like, how are you going to tell me? I studied this, right? Like, she was attacking me. And I just told her it's sad because, I understand maybe you didn't study commercial law, right? You're like, lawyers are like doctors. There's specialists, there's feet specialists, shoulder specialists, head specialists. I get it. Like, you've studied maybe one part of the law. And for you to say that the entire reason that they don't have to, that they can do whatever they want due to the Constitution is pure ignorance. I'll be honest with you, it's pure ignorance, because that's what I'm going off of. If anything, you're agreeing with me, because her argument was that the right to life stands above all, that constitutional right, and she is correct. She's correct. And but what she's forgetting is that applies to me as well, right? So she was bringing up the example of, well, you walk in there and the right to life defeats whatever you're saying, because if the person behind you feels threatened by what you're doing, that it's going to threaten her life, that stands above all. And I'm like, if it were to work like that in the court of law, Josie, we'd be very busy, because at that point you're talking about something that's subjective, and that's why the laws exist, for there not to be any subjective ground about what makes her feel threatened, what makes him feel threatened, because we're all different and we all have different personalities. So if it were like that, the due process would be very long, because there would be no base, and the base is the written law. So what's in law is what goes. It doesn't matter how she feels about me not wearing a mask. What we're talking about is Walmart cannot discriminate against the reasons why I can't wear one, unless they're going to accept full responsibility for any harm or damages caused by what they're forcing me to do to enter their premises. And that has to be in writing. And they're not going to want to be liable for that. It doesn't work that way. That's why the laws are in place. They're not going to sign a document that's going to prove how they're discriminating against the law that's already in place. They're not going to do that. So, and I try to explain this to her. She's like, no, it doesn't work that way. I'm like, look, I'll give you a perfect example. Okay. If you're telling me that she feels uncomfortable without me wearing a mask, and then that's the reason why I have to wear one, because you're saying that the Constitution, right to life, defeats the commercial law that businesses have to follow. Am I correct? She's like, no, businesses still have to follow certain laws, but I'm saying that that supersedes the law. And I'm like, you're correct, but that applies to me as well. And I'll give you a perfect example. Then what we have to go to the commercial law. We have to go to the next step to see what they can and they can't do, right? And it doesn't matter how she feels about it. It doesn't matter how threatened or how fed up or how angry she is about it. It's the law. And I'll give you a perfect example. If she thinks that she feels safe on the road when everyone's going 55 miles an hour and the legal speed limit is 65, and she feels like her life is threatened, like her life is literally hanging on a thread whenever cars go by her at 65 miles an hour, she can't do anything about it because the law says that you can go 65 miles an hour. So what are we talking about? And then once I use that again, they just chose to start attacking me personally. That's why that's why you're gonna end up alone, and there's nothing that we can tell you that it's the way you want it, and you think you know it all, and that's what's gonna get you in trouble. And it even got to the point where like, no, dude, look, all I'm doing is asking questions you guys don't have the answer to. She's like, yeah, it's because you know them all, so we don't want to answer them. It's just like, that's why I'm asking you guys. How do you know that I know them? I haven't shared anything with you. I'm asking. And then they got super ignorant. They were like attacking me personally then, and like I asked them like, okay, like look, let's back up. I'll ask you just a very simple question. Why do you wear a mask? And you're like, oh, to protect myself from irresponsible people like you. It's just like, all right, I'm gonna end the conversation because clearly at that point you're throwing emotion into it, and now you're making it about me when it's not about me. I'm trying to teach you the rights that you have and that I can't violate, and you could choose to know them or not. It's up to you. But you don't have to do what other people say. It's pretty simple. She put it pretty plainly right there with the right to live, right? The right to exercise your free will without imposing your will upon others, right? That's a constitutional right that at least is here in the Puerto Rican Constitution, right? And then in terms of just businesses, they have to follow certain laws if they're public, especially if they receive funding from the government. And then they try to tell me that, like, nah, the U.S. laws aren't the same. I'm like, no, look, we were talking about Walmart. And where's Walmart from? She's like, well, most companies are from the United States. I'm like, exactly. So what are we talking about? They got so mad that I was asking questions and I was getting to my point with questions to where all they chose to do was attack me and ramble on about, anytime I asked a question about something, they would ramble on about something else, about how I don't listen and how I think I'm right, just trying to drop me in personally. And I bit a couple times to where it got me upset. And I started like just telling them, look, like, why are you making this about me? It's not about me. That's not what we're talking about. But it was just funny. I had a hell of a weekend with trying to wake these people up yesterday. That was kind of like my point. Why, like I just don't even try to wake up some people because it's you're legit gonna get a mob after you. No matter how you ask them, you're gonna ask them questions. You could be patient. Ask them questions. You can get them to the point where they don't know, and that's what almost gets them so upset. Is like when they pretend to know something that they don't know and they don't have the answer to, they just start attacking you. It's just like, why do you struggle with saying and just telling yourself that you don't know? But we're living in some crazy times. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Don't know what else to say. Hell of a weekend, and I hope everybody's safe out there and know your rights, people, because or else you don't have any. Love you.